First thing you want to do is get this fan off. So go ahead and leave the belt for the alternator tight, and then go ahead and wrench on these, get them all loose. Then after that, you want to go ahead and loosen up the alternator. Next, remove your fan and also your water pump pulley. That way it's easier to get the shroud out when the time comes. Alright, the upper hose has to come out in order to get the shroud out, or at least have room to get the shroud out. Remove that hose clamp. And this hose clamp. Ooh. Next, we can go ahead and remove the thermostat cover. Next, you need to remove this top bracket and bolts. You can either remove these two bolts or these two bolts. It doesn't matter which ones. Also, there's two bolts on the bottom that you need to remove. On each corner of the shroud, there are nuts like this. Those are what you need to remove on each corner to get that shroud out. The next thing you need to remove, there's a small bolt here, a small bolt here, and right here. That removes that extension in the bottom of the shroud. It makes it a lot easier to get out. It's worth your time. Alright, after getting the shroud out of the way, the next thing to do is actually remove the radiator. A few tips on removing the shroud. These brackets that hold on the radiator, if you actually remove those, that'll give you a little bit of wiggle room to get the shroud out. I recommend lifting the shroud out of the passenger side, just because you don't have that upper neck to fight you. So anyway, now it's time to remove the radiator. The last step in removing the radiator is, if you have an automatic transmission, is these automatic transmission cooling lines. Make sure you remove those. They're very easy to strip the heads off, so be real careful. Use lots of penetrating oil. I think this is why the radiator was leaking. You see that? That's a big old hole. So, yep. Now we gotta go remove the radiator. Now we got the radiator out. You can see it's leaking from there, going down this direction, leaking from the bottom, maybe leaking from there. There's for sure some kind of leak there. I wouldn't be surprised if the bottom wasn't leaking too. You look at the top, problem right there. This is an original factory radiator, so it's never been out. So honest to goodness truth, it's actually time for a change. It's probably good. The stuff they make nowadays is much better quality, and it cools a lot better. Once you have the radiator out, it's a good idea to check your radiator support. Now this one is very clean and looks really good, but that's where they commonly rust out, and there's no better time to replace your radiator support when you're doing your radiator swap. So go ahead and check that. So assembly is the opposite of disassembly.